Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tailgating with Lot C. I'm Joe, and I'm
Mark, how's it going, everyone?
here with Mark. And today we're serving up some food for thought on some BNR speculation and some other stuff, I'm sure.
JumpStart finance and a whole other stuff. Maybe even a bit of Pioneer for all you that are into it, even though I don't know how many people are really playing Pioneer at the moment.
Well, maybe more after this Monday.
We'll see how it goes. I'm more hyped for Modern, obviously.
Yeah, Modern is definitely where our focus is for sure. But obviously, so we have this BNR coming up this Monday, as this is recorded. We kind of wanted to talk about what we think might get the axe and maybe even what might get unbanned, possibly.
Ooh, spicy.
So I think we'll just kind of go through the format, starting off with Modern.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, what do you see getting banned first off?
Well, there are a few cards that a lot of people are looking at getting banned. I even think that Uro's up in the top there. Astrolabe's pretty big on people's minds, as well as Teferi. Time Raveler's pretty big. And then maybe Urza, maybe not. I mean, Bobble's not anywhere up there anymore after Lurrus was, well, companions in general were nerfed a lot. So I think those are the top three at the moment. Urza, probably not, but I mean, you can never know.
Yeah, I think there's an argument for Urza going. I think we're more than likely going to see Astrolabe go.
I think that's the number one.
I think that's the one that is going to go. I wouldn't be surprised if Uro goes.
Mm-hmm.
But I also wouldn't be surprised if, they just pull something out of left field too, something that we're not even considering, because you never know with Wizards.
That's very true. They could unban something. Who knows? Like a Stoneforge Mystic from, was it 6 months ago now? That maybe 9 months ago that Stoneforge was unbanned. I mean,
Yeah, it's been a while now.
There's a couple of things that could definitely be unbanned.
Yeah.
Splinter Twin. I mean, God knows that card.
Splinter Twin, you could. There's an argument for that.
I mean, it's definitely not powerful enough to dominate this meta currently. It won't even be the best Kiki Jiki deck with goblins.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
is sad because that was the Kiki Jiki deck.
That's an interesting thought. I don't know. I feel like a card like Splinter Twin could easily come back, because what's it going to do? That's going to be, when you look at it, what's so broken about it right now in the modern metagame?
Nothing. I mean, what combo decks? I mean, it wouldn't be a better combo deck than anything than, like, say, Titan. Titan would stomp it right now.
Titan would stomp it. I think that Euroza gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think that the Sultai controls and Bant controls that we have right now in the meta,
Mm-hmm.
I think that takes care of it.
Yeah, so I mean, look at the last two unbannings they did with Stoneforge, and then was Jace, honestly, the last one before that? I don't remember. There's not too many unbannings.
It's an incredibly rare thing for there to be an unbanning.
At least the last one I know of. I could be wrong, but obviously the last one was Stoneforge, and then Jace, the Mind Sculptor, is most notable I can think of those of other unbannings.
Yeah, I mean, at least off the top of my head, I can't think of any others that have happened in recent memory.
Are Jace and Stoneforge dominating the meta? Not at all.
Not even
Jace
close.
has played in some control decks.
Yeah, Stoneforge. I mean, when that came back, it was like,
oh my god, what's gonna happen?
What's gonna happen? The meta's gonna go crazy. It's gonna
nope.
No.
People tried brewing for like 2 weeks and were like, eh.
Yeah, I mean,
sure, like, Batterskull.
You got like a Batterskull deck thrown together, and you kind of choose in, what is it? Bant.
Bant Snowblade.
Bant Snowblade. Yeah, I mean, you had that with some of the swords and Batterskull thrown in there. Beyond that, I mean, she was definitely seeing play for, like you said, maybe a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's not like she doesn't have the same power and legacy. She can't do as much.
Right.
As but.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure exactly what's going to get banned. Besides, I'd say that the most likely thing is definitely Astrolabe.
Yeah,
Astrolabe.
It's certainly a powerful enabler, and I think that what people don't like is when other color pies are just, it doesn't matter anymore. Color identity is big in Magic, and then Astrolabe is just kind of like, what if we didn't really care though? And we just played 4 colors with ease.
Yeah, 4 or 5 colors. I mean, when you have 5-color Wurza, when that was going around, you have like Bant and Sultai just totally fine with their, color fixing as well as just adding another snow permanent down there.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's I think it's definitely the most likely candidate. Beyond that, like we mentioned, I think Uro is also up there in the ban possibilities.
Yeah, it definitely has a
I
chance.
don't see that one going, unfortunately. Um,
I really hope Teferi goes. Just personally,
yeah,
I really hope he goes.
I was just gonna ask, like, what are some cards you want gone?
I want Teferi gone so bad. I'm so tired of him. Magic is interaction. That's why it's different than all the other TCGs, and in my opinion, the best TCGs, because you play cards on another player's turn and instant speed, and there's so much complexity to it. That's what I like. I like making complex decks. I like playing a complex game. The
True.
fairy is put in control decks, and the whole point of control decks is that you are reacting to the other opponent, you are controlling the game, you are just, playing all these interesting cards and trying to put your plan through. And Teferi is like, I don't need to play any more counter spells in there anymore. I can just do what I want. It's like, well, that kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
Right.
It's so easy with him. It makes it so simple.
Yeah, Teferi, I mean, it's ever since he was printed, he's kind of been a bit of a scourge to the almost every format.
Yeah, I mean,
I
look at other
mean,
cards. I mean, he's so easy to play. Turn 3, other cards that do things like he did with his, I think, Fairy Mage's Zelfir with the 5 mana one, the two generic and 3 blue, I believe it's called.
hmm
That one has
yeah,
the same effect, but I mean, it's not playable in Modern because how the mana costs.
right.
And then at Dragon Lord Dramoka,
hmm
but just says you can't play spells on your turn, which isn't even the same thing, and that's a 6
right.
mana.
And it's yeah, I mean, even something like that's not really even that big a
Yeah,
deal.
this thing's 3 mana,
But it's
and it's
like yeah,
easy
when
to
you think of
play.
like some of the things that are in modern that are at least similar to it, and you look at the different stipulations that go
Yeah,
into him,
they're creatures. They're
they're
easy to get rid
creatures that
of.
simple removal spells takes care of them.
Yeah,
And the thing with Teferi is that casting removal spells is made that much harder.
yeah.
You have to do it on your turn.
And his ability to bounce creatures just makes it that much more heinous.
Right.
Like, why do they need to give him that ability as well? It's like, come on.
Yeah. Teferi would probably be number one on my list as far as what I would like to go. That and I think Astrolabe does need to go in
Yeah, just for the
modern.
health of the format. It's a cool card, but it's just too big of an enabler. It's
It is.
ridiculous.
And I mean, similar to other cards that we've seen go, like Faithless Looting, on the surface, you'd think, oh, well, that's just good for, you know, adding some card draw to some other decks or, trying to make some interesting combos work. But when you look at what it's actually played in and what decks it really enables, then for, like you said, the health of the format and to promote variety in the meta, it's sometimes you just need to sacrifice those cards that even though they're cool and they might add to, your unique deck that you make, it's, for the greater good.
Yeah, people are just going to abuse it with Arclight, Phoenix, and Dredge, and you know, on and on. Obviously,
Right.
so I think it's probably for the best. It just needs to. But that's my thoughts on at least modern. Personally, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what needs to go. Pioneer, it's a lot easier to look at what needs to go. In my opinion, what do you
Yeah.
think?
Pioneer is definitely, I mean, I would say Inverter.
Yeah,
At the very least, a piece from that deck needs to
Inverter or
go.
Thassa's Oracle
It's either got to be,
needs
yeah,
to go.
it's either going to be the Inverter of Truth itself, or it's going to be Thassa's Oracle.
Hmm.
It certainly is going to be one of those combo pieces.
Absolutely. I think
Um,
Underworld Breach probably needs to
Underworld
go too.
Breach is definitely, yeah, that's another one. That's another contender. I feel like Pioneer is probably going to be the only format that sees more than one card going,
Probably.
if I had to guess. And I definitely see that going to be Thassa's Oracle for sure.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not sure if they're going to go with getting rid of Inverter over Thassa's Oracle.
I'm not sure. Probably Thassa's Oracle, because how many other, like, I think Thassa's Oracle can go into other mill strategies. It's a little bit
Mm,
more versatile. Devere Inverter is kind of like, not really.
right.
I mean, I never saw play at all before Pioneer even
Ex-
came out. So
exactly. Right.
I think Dig Through Time definitely has a chance to go as well as one of those
Yeah,
pieces.
Dig Through Time and maybe even Treasure Cruise.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if they need to ban those now. I think maybe you could take a look at them after this and see where they fall, maybe.
Hmm.
But I could see them going.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I certainly understand the arguments for them
I mean,
going.
they are ridiculously
They're
powerful.
like insanely good cantrips,
Yeah.
insanely good.
But I know that with fetch lands, it's not as easy to do
Right, you're
broken things.
doing the delve cost or whatever, having that in your yard in order to play Treasure Cruise or
Yeah.
whatever. It becomes much more difficult without the fetches in the format. but at the same time,
It's not that hard to
it's not
mill.
that hard. It really isn't. I mean,
Zeta Wayfinders and Stitcher
right,
suppliers and
exactly.
so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, so those are also some contenders I could see going.
yeah. I think
At the end of the day, though, I think really they need to just look at the combo decks that are muddying up the format and
Lotus
making it
Field and
really unfun,
yeah,
uh, in order to try to breathe some more life into the game and bring back some of that uh, brewing energy that people had for the format. I mean, obviously, when a format's brand new, you can come up with all these random kind of crazy decks, but you need to allow people to be creative or play some of these more fun decks and actually have a shot at winning some games so that they don't want to quit right away, because when you're looking at this, it's like you need to be able to beat these massive combo decks that are absolutely dominating. That's hard to do in Pioneer right now.
absolutely. It's just no one has fun just losing combat decks over and over again.
Mhm.
It's never that fun. If everyone was playing ad nauseum and modern and other things like that, modern would be pretty heinous pretty quickly. But luckily, ad nauseum's not running rampant.
Right.
It's not too hard to counterspell things.
Yeah.
Luckily, but
Yeah, I mean, obviously we got Erosa or whatever as the main kind of combo deck with the Urza lock that they can do, but beyond that, I mean, and the thing is that in modern, there's ways to combat that. You have Thoughtseize in the format. You have counter
force
spells. You have right,
negations, mystical
exactly.
disputes. Obviously, yeah, it's
So
not that hard.
right, so at the end of the day, you might run into a broken combo deck, but with the cards that you can pull out of your sideboard, you're probably going to be able to get a win out of that game still, or at least have a fair shake at
Yeah,
it.
and you also already have your own strategy, which is already going to be pretty decent.
Right. I mean, modern's like what, the turn 3 format?
Yeah, the card pool they have is a lot more deep. And Pioneer doesn't go as deep as you would want it to, where you can just pull out this other strategy that's like fantastic. There's not that many like really really good strategies out there
Right.
that's like, all right, that's gonna be fine.
Mhm.
So I think, yeah, those they just need to go. So
Yeah.
historic is one that also I think is a pretty easy look at as well.
Yeah, historic is kind of, I mean, uh from what I can tell, the card that's most likely to go, I think, is Nexus of Fate. It's at the very least, it's the one that I think people are being most vocal about wanting to get rid of.
Oh yeah, the card's
And
incredibly boring.
I mean, when people are constantly calling for a card to be banned, it often does. When it's such an outcry, WotC isn't that ignorant. They're
True.
they're gonna look at how hated Nexus of Fate is, and um, I think they'll, I think it's going.
I'm hoping. I'm
It's
hoping.
it's either gonna be Nexus of Fate or it's gonna be Burning Tree Emissary.
Yeah, I think they both have a chance. I think Ugin could even be thrown in the conversation, but I
I
don't know
think he
too
could
much
be.
because I don't play that much historic. But I
Um,
mean, it's definitely a good card. I mean, there's
yeah.
no doubt about it. But yeah, I think Nexus is definitely the one on the chopping block that just needs to go automatically.
I think in order to promote a healthy format, you need to get rid of the cards that just give people headaches when they face up against it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because sure, Burning Tree Emissary is a fantastic card. Gruul aggro right now is dominating the meta, but it's certainly not as much of a headache as sitting there and watching your opponent, uh, you know, start taking unlimited turns and then just needing to scoop because there's just nothing that you can do once they get that lock on.
Right, and even maybe beforehand, I think that there still was an argument that could have been banned before discontinuity was even printed. But now that it's like they
Right.
almost have an eight of,
They have
I
an 8
guess
of
in a
essentially.
way.
Yeah, because the Nexus of Fate deck that's running rampant right now, it plays a 4 of each.
Mm,
So I mean, they dig for one or the other, and boom,
yeah.
there's their taking turns right there. And then after that happens, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, nothing feels shittier than even playing on your turn, trying to get your big spell out there, trying to get out of that hole they've dug you in with Nexus, and
Hmm.
then you just get discontinuity, and now you've already wasted that mana and you lose your turn. It's
Yeah.
just like, why do I bother playing
Right.
sometimes?
Yeah. I mean, like we've said, I mean, there's not always an argument to ban something because of how powerful it is,
Yeah, and the
but
annoyance.
also how boring it
Yeah, I
is.
mean, everyone remember KCI.
Right. KCI in Modern was just so
Boring.
boring. You just sat there and you watched your opponent play. And I think that Nexus of Fate has a very similar atmosphere. You basically sit there, you do a couple things, and they just sit there and maybe stifle you a little bit. Beyond that, they just kind of sit there, take their beats until they get their lock online, and once they do, it's just you sit there until you lose or you concede the match.
There's probably a big issue with the game or the deck itself when turns 1 through 3. There's kind of like, whatever, I'm gonna
Right.
win this.
Well, that's also why I'd say Ugin kind of is, something that you could discuss about being on the chopping block, only because ramp is such an issue. I mean, right now in historic, the number one deck that's being played is ramping with, Growth Spiral and Uro
Yep,
into
Uro.
Ugin.
They didn't even need to play cards like Circudius Uru, which was played back then, and it was still really good. They
Right.
didn't need to touch that, or Nissa's. It's like some
Right.
of these cards aren't even need to be played, and that's when you know the depth they have is incredible.
Right. So I mean, essentially what you have is the same standard ramp deck that ramps into Ugin with all the same pieces.
Just a bit better.
Except, yeah, it's just a little bit better with some of the cards that have rotated.
Buddy lands and
And
stuff
then
like that.
right, exactly. And then also, you got cards like Field of the Dead in there that are just
Oh,
making things even worse for you so that they have a wall of 2/2 zombies while they're ramping toward Ugin for the eventual win where
yeah.
once he gets on board, they, minus X and boom.
Yeah,
The game is
it's
basically theirs.
ridiculous, but we'll see let's see what happens. I think Nexus is gonna go no matter what. I think
Mhm.
that Wizards realizes that this card is boring, but
Right.
at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. I think that once they bring Pioneer to Arena, we'll be fine anyway.
Yeah.
But that's the third of the four formats that are on the chopping block. Last one is Pauper, which we'll just
Mhm.
kind of gloss over a little bit here, I think.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with Pauper or uh, what the meta is or
No,
what
I just know.
cards are worthy of banning in Pauper.
No, we don't have much
I
experience
don't
with
I
it.
don't personally play the format. I've never tried. I've never it's certainly an interesting concept. I wouldn't mind trying it sometime in the future. But at this time I really don't have an opinion or a comment on
Right.
what could or couldn't go into the BNR update for Pauper.
Yeah, I've never had much of a motivation to play it just because I do like playing those really big spells. And I know there's some things like Counterspell on there, and you can use Deprive, and there's some other powerful cantrips, but I want those big fun spells to play. So, it's not my personal interest, but I hear that Mystic Sanctuary is probably one of them that really needs to go in a Pauper, I've heard.
Yeah, I think there was a leak on Reddit that was talking about that Mystic Sanctuary possibly getting the axe. But like I said, I don't know. Is
Yeah.
Mystic Sanctuary broken in Pauper? You guys
Hey,
tell us.
we'll see. Good luck to you Pauper players, but I mean, we're just not that informed on the issue, but
Yep.
we'll see what happens.
All right. So the next thing that we wanted to talk about was JumpStart and kind of the prices and the availability
Yeah,
and
as
what's
well as a
going
little
on
bit
with
of
that.
Double Masters as well.
Right. Because JumpStart comes out next week.
Right.
So, I mean, we'll probably be talking about it a little bit more then. But for right now, I mean, people are spending a lot of money right now on JumpStart.
Yeah, they should not be. If you're listening, please do not wait, or please do wait until these Jumpstart prices lower, because they will.
Yeah. Um, yeah, Magic basically was just saying that due to COVID-19 complications, they've like hardly been able to ship out any.
Right.
So the prices are obviously inflated right now greatly because the demand is so high, but the availability of the
Yeah, it's scarce.
boosters is so low. So
Mhm.
yeah, I wouldn't
Please-
I
yeah.
wouldn't buy any of these Jumpstart
Yes.
boxes right now, especially from third party websites, like on
Yeah, like
Amazon
Craigslist or
eBay or
don't
wherever.
don't
where
do anything
they're
shady, please.
Yeah, they're upcharging it like crazy. I mean, if you just wait a little while, let some of this COVID complications slow down a little bit, let WotC get caught up, and I'm confident that the prices of these boxes and boosters are going to go
They'll
down
dip.
considerably.
Yeah. Is do not pay $250 for a Jumpstart booster box. I know that on the surface it's like, there's a lot of good reprints, but you also got to think you shouldn't be hunting for reprints in these boxes because these decks are not similar to other booster packs where you just get your set of uncommons and
Mhm.
uncommons and rares and you just get the luck of the draw.
Right.
They are pre-made booster packs that go into certain deck types like the Devils and other whatnots.
Mhm.
So the cards that you want aren't necessarily just going to be luckily in the booster pack. They're going to be like I think there's like ratios of like 1 in 120 for things like these Oracle Moldias or these
Right.
Exquisite Bloods and whatnots. They will lower the price a little bit through reprints, a little bit, not super significantly, but they're not going to be in great availability just in every booster box,
Right,
especially
you're
with
not-
limited prints.
the likelihood of buying a booster box and just getting lucky with a pull of an Oracle
It's low.
is gonna be pretty much 0. I mean, you probably pull something
You'll probably get
great,
one of these cards
you
that are
know,
getting
but is it
reprinted.
gonna be the one you want?
Yeah.
Probably not.
No.
So you're certainly better off buying singles
Yeah.
if
In every case,
all
anyway.
I mean, of course, yeah, this applies to every single set. You're gonna be better off monetarily purchasing the singles outright
But
from somewhere like Card Kingdom or your LGS rather than, you know,
yeah,
hunting for it in
yeah, hunting for
booster
that.
packs. It's
Yeah,
not gonna work out.
you don't want to just look for that mana drain and hope that the iconic Masters box you guy is going to have it. I get it. I understand that that's for fun, and maybe you want a little bit back from other booster boxes. I understand that sentiment. So if you have a little bit of financial, leeway, if you want to spend that $100 on the core set boxes, if you watch Prof's booster box game videos, you'll know that you'll get reasonably your money back for a lot of it.
Mhm.
But when it comes to Jumpstart, I'm not going to say, oh yeah, you're going to get your money back. I wouldn't be that
Right.
hopeful, especially at 250. Do not buy them at 250, people.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, when you consider just how different it is as far as like the rare displacements and stuff within the packs and how they're like how all the packs are set up and stuff,
Yeah.
it's a lot different from like buying a core set
Yeah,
box.
like it's not gonna be like a Korea booster boxes or the collector's ones where it's like you make your money
Right.
back. These
Mhm.
cards are such high in demand.
Yeah.
But yeah, so same thing with double masters and with Jumpstart. Wait till the prices dip, especially for double masters. I mean, we've seen a lot of good cards come out, and that's nobody's said before. There's a lot of hype around them, and we're quite excited. But wait till everything's shown. These could be just be big teasers, and I hope they're not. And they print other cards like Walking Ballistas and what have you, and
Mhm.
other things. But be vigilant. Wait a little bit longer, please, people. Please.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, get excited though, get hyped. Jumpstart comes out in a week from today. So that'll be something to look forward to and to talk about next week.
Hmm.
So one of the other things that we wanted to discuss in this episode was Pioneer and Pioneer coming to Arena and possibly a bit of a revival for the format because right now it's kind of at an all-time low as far as hype and player base and just overall enjoyment that people are having for the format.
Yeah, hilariously and ironically, it's starting to look a little bit like Frontier, which was the
Mhm.
entire basis of the naming of it. But
Mhm.
I'm hoping it doesn't go that way.
Yeah,
We'll
well,
see
I
what
mean, I
goes.
certainly don't. The more formats there are, the better. I mean, having just various options and ways that you could build and brew, especially for someone like us, we love brewing. Like
Yeah.
I probably brew decks maybe even more often than I play decks.
Oh, absolutely for me as
Like
well.
my favorite thing in Magic is just going through finding what cards work together and just slamming them together in a deck, see if it works, and then tweak it and make adjustments and just sort of work out what kind of a deck is going to work best in this format and in that format. And just having multiple formats is so much fun. And then having certain formats like Pioneer where there are those restrictions already in place and you have a smaller pool to work with, but not too small. Uh, it really changes up how you look at the deck that you're building when you have a more limited palette to work with. And it's just a format that I think has the potential to be a lot of fun. And it was back in the day when it first released. But right now we're looking at a format that doesn't seem that fun to play.
Yeah, I know that. I think that both Pioneer's health is helpful for both itself and for Modern's health because when there are other two kind of competing formats stylistically, they do the same. It's not like Commander and Modern, complete opposite sides of what you're looking at. They're not going to bounce off each other too much. But Pioneer and Modern are very similar in the style they play, the way you want to play them, the competitiveness of it.
Hmm.
So the more health there is in Pioneer, the more competitive it is, the more fun it is, the more Modern has to come out and be like, all right, well, we need to make sure these cards are fun. We need to make sure that the format is nice and healthy and balanced. And they might do some more aggressive bannings or things like that to make sure it's a lot more fun. So
Hmm.
I think that Pioneer definitely needs something here. It needs these bannings as we talked about probably need to go through with Underworld Breaches or the Inverter Thassa's Oracle.
Hmm.
The big cantrips need to probably go, and coming to Arena might be the thing that saves it though.
Right. I think coming to Arena is obviously going to open up the format to a much larger player base. I mean, there's thousands of people that play Arena exclusively.
Oh yeah,
They don't pick up paper, they don't play on
they don't
MTGO.
play Hearthstone or anything like that.
Right, they play Arena exclusively, and just giving them another format to try out, especially a format like Pioneer where it has so many cards that probably most of these players have never heard of or played with before. It's going to really open up the player base and really just breathe new life into the format a bit. And unfortunately, I think that if they don't tackle some of these bans that they need to do with the combo decks, I mean, it's just going to be more of the same, only on Arena. So I think that with this BNR, we're hoping that we see those bannings. And if they ban the right cards and then put the format on Arena, I can see the format coming back with a big bang.
Yeah, I think that there's even options for them to maybe even do the same route they've done with Historic, where they can maybe, unban or kind of reintroduce some cards if they're not going to reprint them,
Mm-hmm.
in the way they've done it, like Phyrexian Obliterators put into Historic and whatnot. I think specifically the fast lands for the enemy side need to go into Pioneer like now. It really hurts being a Rakdos loving player and playing Pioneer and being like, well, I can't use my Blackleaf Cliffs, but it's
Mm-hmm.
okay because Simic gets their Botanical Sanctums. Everything's great there.
It's got theirs?
Yeah, and I'm just here like, well, I'm playing an aggro deck without the aggro lands. Fun.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I feel like that's something that Wizards could consider is maybe, not necessarily like a Pioneer only set, but similar to what they do with Commander or Historic, where they just say, hey, these cards would be perfect for the
Yeah,
format.
nope, they're not legal. Boom.
This card would help improve the health. This would improve the variety. Let's put them in there.
Yeah,
See what happens.
let's put a Surgical Expansion in. There's already a Thought Thief, and then that way they try to play their combo deck with the Underworld Breach. Boom, Surgical Expansion. No more.
There you go.
There we go.
And then the format's saved.
But we'll see. I don't work for Wizards. Maybe I should. I don't know.
We'll see. Pioneer, obviously, it's a format that fell off quite a bit, and all we want is all the formats in Magic to be healthy. I mean, Legacy. I wish it the best. I wish it was.
Have fun.
I wish it was number one still. I wish it was great. Modern, I never want to see Modern go.
No.
Commander's rising up in the ranks as always right now, and I hope it does forever.
Yep.
At the end of the day, it's like I just want Magic to be a great, fun great fun game to play, regardless of whatever format you choose. And unfortunately, Pioneer right now is suffering. And definitely needs something to revitalize it a little bit.
Yeah, I don't mean to hate on it that much. I mean, obviously, it was a brewer's paradise for a few months there, and that's what I like doing. I like
Definitely
walking that line of competitive, interesting, but competitive. It's just I made that Rakdos deck with like Dreadhorde Butchers and Chandra Acolyte of Flames and Heartfires, and a card called Devour Flesh was in my sideboard, but which I don't know if anyone heard of that card beforehand, but I was playing that and I was having a lot of fun. I did decently well at FNMs playing it. Beating decks like Is It in Soul, which our friend was playing, which was hilarious. But
in Soul Artifact.
But it's not the same right now.
Yeah, remember when in Soul Artifact was like the number one deck in Pioneer?
I remember. It was actually kind of fun though.
Yeah, that's true, and it wasn't a super broken combo deck.
No.
So, yeah, there's a lot of different things that WotC could do to improve the health of that format and to try to promote it to more people. I think it going on Arena is definitely going to be probably the number one thing that brings it back, and I am really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I hope so.
All right, guys, with that, we're going to go ahead and end it. So I want to thank you all for watching.
Yep. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to the new podcast next week when we talk about more BNR updates and JumpStart and see how that's going. But until then, make sure to pay your parking and have a nice night.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. It helps us out a ton. And if you enjoy our content, please consider subscribing. Make sure you follow us on all our social media @Coast Lizards, and have a fantastic day.